Hi everyone, I hope you're doing really well today. I've been on a bit of a crochet homeware kick at the moment, but I don't really have a massive amount of time to dedicate to complex projects. So I wanted to do this video showing two super simple coaster patterns that are just made from basic shapes. They don't take very much mental effort, and they also look really cute and are customizable for your own colour scheme and vibe. These coasters would make fantastic gifts and will also give you great experience getting familiar with basic crochet stitches, crocheting shapes and changing colour. So let's get started. I'm going to be using 100% cotton yarn for this project, mainly because it is machine washable, which I think is pretty important for a coaster, especially when you're as clumsy as me. It's also heat resistant, so there's no risk of it melting if you've got a really hot mug or bowl or something like that. This is Drops Paris yarn, and I'll link all the different colours that I use in the description below. It's an Aran or worsted weight yarn, and I'm going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. So for the circle coaster, I've added some colour changes to turn it into a kind of bullseye stripy design. I have a few of these on my coffee table, each in different colours, and they look really cute. I was a bit worried about using this sort of white light colour yarn, but I can actually safely say that I've put this through the wash once and any sort of tea or coffee stains have been removed. I mean, you can see it looks pretty good, so I think I'm going to carry on using quite light colours for these coasters going forward. So we're going to start by doing 6 single crochet in a magic ring. I have a video on my channel on how to do a magic ring in a bit more detail, which I'll just link in the top corner here. This will create the base of our circle and will increase in size in each round. And then we'll pull the end of the magic ring tight to close the circle. For our next round, we're going to be doing 2 single crochet in each of these 6 stitches, meaning we end up with a total of 12 single crochet. For round 3, we're going to repeat the following pattern 6 times. So we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and then increase in the next. So do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And we'll do this 6 times. So 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase. So those 12 stitches becomes 18. And this kind of sets the pattern for the remainder of our rows. And you can carry on going for as long as you want to make your coaster as big as you'd like. So with each row going forward, we're just going to increase the number of single crochets we do in between in each increased stitch. So for the row we just did, we had 1 single crochet and then an increase. And now for this next row, we're going to do 2 single crochets between our increases. I'm also going to change colour now before we start the next row, and I'll show you how to do a really seamless colour change. So we've finished our round, and you can cut your yarn and pull it out as you would usually. Now what we want to do is take your crochet hook and insert it from the back to the front through that second stitch. So not the next stitch, the second one, from the back to the front, and pull through that tail of yarn. There we go. And then again, from the back to the front, we want to go under just the back loop of the final stitch of the previous row, from back to front. And again, pull that tail of yarn through that stitch. And as you can see, this has created almost a fake stitch, and it smooths out the transition between rows a little bit more seamlessly than just using a slip stitch. And this means I can join my next colour of yarn in any stitch that I like. This almost acts as like a finished circle in itself. So I'm just going to use a slip knot to join the next colour onto my hook and start my process of the next row, which is 2 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, and then increase, and we're going to repeat that 6 times. So finish that round and we have 24 stitches in total. So for the following round, we're just going to increase the number of single crochet between our increases. So this next row will have 3 single crochet and then an increase. The row after that will have 4 single crochet and then an increase, etc, etc. I did 9 rows in total with the 6 single crochet in the magic ring counting as row number 1. But you can make your coaster as big or as small as you like. I also changed colour after every 2 rows to get the striped effect. So I'm going to do 1 more row in this dark blue colour before changing back to the light blue using the same technique that we just did. So I will meet you back here when we have a finished coaster. One little piece of advice that I have to make your coaster more of a perfect circle is to switch up where you start your round when you change colour. This prevents you from getting these mini corners start to form when you increase in the same place in each row every single time. So as you can see here, this is where I've increased for a couple of rows. So I'm actually going to start here so that I do some single crochets over that spot, just to kind of even it out a little bit, and I'll end up increasing further down the row instead of doing those increases and creating those bumps the same place every row. So I finished up that final round and weaved in all the ends, and here we have our finished coaster. This has a diameter of around 10.5 centimeters, which I think works perfectly fine, and I'm ready to make like 10 more of these in loads of different colours. Making this took me just over 15 minutes, so if you think about popping on a movie or an episode of something, you could so easily make 4 of these as a gift for someone in just an evening. So really happy with this, and let's move on to the next coaster. So we've mastered the circle, so the next shape we're going to work on is the square. There are so many different ways to crochet a square depending on what project you're making, but I decided to make this coaster using a solid granny square with a single crochet border around the outside. This is very similar to a normal granny square, but it's a bit more dense with fewer holes, which makes it a little bit more suited to a coaster. If you're interested in learning how to make a traditional granny square, I have a video talking you through every step and how to turn them into an adorable cushion cover, just linked up here. So starting with a slip knot on the hook, we want to chain 3 and work a slip stitch into that very first chain. And this will create a teeny tiny little loop that we're going to use to work the rest of the stitches in this round. It's tucked right underneath that last stitch that we did. So to start the next row, we want to chain 5 and work 3 double crochet into that tiny loop at the base there. And now we want to chain 2 and work another 3 double crochet all into that loop. Now we have two sides of the square and two little corners. So we want to chain 2 to create the next corner space and work another 3 double crochet into that center loop. Now chain 2 for the very last corner. And now for this final side, we only need to do 2 double crochet to finish this, as the initial chain 5 we did at the start takes the place of that 3rd double crochet and the chain 2 for the corner. So work 2 double crochet to finish the last side of the square. And to finish the round, we just need to slip stitch into this space here. Now we have a tiny little square. For the next round, we want to chain 5, exactly the same as round 1, and work 2 double crochet into this corner space. And this is how we will start every round going forward, with a chain 5 and 2 double crochet. Now we want to work a double crochet into each of the stitches along this side. And when we get to our next corner space, we want to work 2 double crochet, chain 2, and another 2 double crochet all into this corner space. And this is the pattern that we'll use for every corner in every round from now on. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet when we reach a corner space. Now again, we want to work a double crochet into each of the stitches along this side of the square and repeat the corner pattern, 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet in this corner space. And we'll do this until we reach the final side here, where I'll join you again. So I've reached the final side of the square. Now exactly the same as our first round, this chain 5 that we did at the start counts as 1 double crochet and a chain 2. So I'll work a double crochet in each of the stitches along this side, but to finish the round, we'll only need to work 1 double crochet into that corner space, because the chain 5 acts as the 2nd double crochet for our corner pattern. So we'll work 1 double crochet into the corner space, and as with the first round, we can just slip stitch into that corner space there. So this pattern repeats for every round going forward, and we start every round with a chain 5 and 2 double crochet. We double crochet in each stitch along the side, and then work our corner pattern of 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in each corner until you reach the end, where you only need to work 1 double crochet to finish the round and slip stitch into the chain space. I only did 3 rounds overall, so 1 more round on top of this, as I wanted to keep my coaster quite small, but you can make your coaster as large as you like, maybe even big enough to be a placemat or something. But I'm going to start that last round, and I'll join you back here at the end of that so we can work our border. So here we have a finished solid granny square. If you'd prefer to leave it here without a border, that's absolutely fine. You can finish here and still have a very easy to make coaster, but I'm just going to add a single crochet border just to even out the edges and add a pop of a contrasting colour. So to do this, I'm going to start with a slip knot on the hook in my border colour and insert my hook into any one of the stitches along the sides of the square. It really doesn't matter which one you start with. Pull your yarn through and finish off a single crochet there. Now we're going to work a single crochet into every stitch along the side, and when we get to the corner space, we're going to work 3 single crochet into each corner space. So 1 single crochet in each stitch, and when you get to a corner, 3 single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around until we get back to the start. And when you reach your final single crochet, just slip stitch into that very first one and fasten off your yarn, and then we're all done. There we go. So the final single crochet, and just slip stitch into that first one and cut your yarn. Now you have a granny square that isn't very square. Don't worry, that is completely normal. The best way to finish off your square, and to be honest, a lot of crochet projects really, is to block your square. You can get a blocking mat or board from loads of different places online. I have this one and it was only about £15 or so, but you can use a foam mat, an ironing board, basically anything that allows you to stick some pins in where they won't move and they provide some structure. Just for comparison, this is a square that I've already blocked, whereas the one we finished together is much rounder. There's a big difference, but let me know if you want to see a more detailed video about blocking and the different methods. I'd be more than happy to film one. So here we have 2 cute little coasters made only using basic shapes. These are fantastic projects to build up muscle memory on how to crochet circles and squares, which are shapes used in so many different crochet projects. They also make wonderful gifts or an affordable way to make your own DIY homeware in very little time at all. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see your coasters if you choose to make them. Please tag me on Instagram at sherbet.studios to show them off. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!